Honored to have on this program on Talk Sport one of the best quarterbacks in the last 20, 30, 40 years, depending how far you want to go back. One of the best stories in NFL history. He needs no introduction. He is Kurt Warner. Kurt, thanks so much for coming on Talk Sport.
You got it. My pleasure to be with you.
There's a ton going into the season, amazing storylines. You're aware of all that. Let's start at the top with Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know what you think about this. I'm just going to ask you straight up. Is it too early to start comparing Patrick Mahomes to Tom Brady, or is Mahomes that incredible that it's a worthwhile comparison? Mahomes hasn't been in the league that long. I mean, he's won 3 Super Bowls, but Brady had 7. Brady did it for 2 decades. You know what longevity is in the NFL, and to do it year after year, decade after decade. How do you feel about that comparison?
I mean, I think it's always hard and, at times can be unfair to the person you're comparing to the greatest of all time. But at the same time, when you look at Patrick Mahomes and I think you look at the way that he's played since he became a starter, because when you look at Tom Brady's career, Tom Brady wasn't Tom Brady as we know him until 4 or 5 years into his career, where he just kind of started to take off and become the GOAT. So Patrick Mahomes has already had tremendous success, just playing the position at such a young age. So that's the first thing that you go, okay, he's ahead of the curve from that perspective, winning MVPs and playing at a level and just having the physical ability that has been very rare in our league, in the history of our league. And so you put all that together, and then you couple it with the fact that he's won 3 Super Bowls. And I think that's the part where you kind of go, okay, I think we can start making comparisons. I mean, 7 is 7. Like, for all of us, when I was growing up, nobody had ever won more than 4. So I remember my dream being, hey, I got to win 5. I got to be the first quarterback to win 5 or play in 5 Super Bowls, because nobody had ever done it. And now all of a sudden we're up to 7. And you realize how hard it is to win a championship. But when you put all of that together, the age, the success, the championships, all of that, I think we sit back and go, okay, 5 years ago, we said, okay, I'll never be matched. What the Patriots did, what Tom Brady did, never going to be matched. Like, it's impossible to think somebody can do it. Yet, Patrick has kind of grabbed our imagination and said, well, records are made to be broken. Maybe there is somebody that's going to come along, in the next generation that can equal the greatness of Tom Brady. And then I think, as I mentioned with the physical aspect of things, I think that's where he gets a little bit of a leg up on Tom Brady, simply because I think I appreciate Tom Brady for his greatness and what it was. And, the fact that if you aren't the most physically talented guy, yet can still have that success, sometimes I look at that as maybe a greater accomplishment. But I think we're in an era where we do the opposite, where we love the wow. We love the different. We love the special guys. And so couple success with the special playmaking and traits that Patrick Mahomes has. And that's where I think people are starting to go, okay, if he gets in that realm of 7 championships with the physical ability and the wow plays that we've seen him make, maybe now he can overtake Tom Brady. And so, I think it's good for our game. I think it's fun when we've got great young talent and great young quarterbacks. And you do have a guy that's the greatest of all time that just retired. And then you got another guy kind of taking over the league where you go, maybe. So for the next 10, 15 years, he's going to capture our imagination to just see if he can do that. Can he be that guy or overtake the throne from Tom Brady? Just makes it a whole lot of fun. But I think, more importantly than all that, we get a chance to watch Patrick Mahomes. We get a chance to see him every time out. And he is so much fun to watch, such a great representative of what our league is all about. And so I love that he's taken the torch and run with it. And I'm going to have fun covering it for the next 15 years to see if he can do it.
You make a great point that he is ahead of the pace, and that is kind of crazy to think about, actually. And with Brady finishing with 7, the blow up, the poster behind you, that Rams era. I wanted to get into this, and then we'll get rid of the Chiefs because we don't need to talk about them too much. But the greatest show on turf, I feel like in some ways underrated nowadays. It's, there's so much a recency bias with how we cover sports. But when you look at Kansas City's offense and you had your own mad scientist as a head coach as well, but you look at Kansas City's offense with Andy Reid, with Travis Kelce, some changing wide receivers, nobody who's a true number one, some changing running backs. I look at the Rams offense and what you guys put up, and you had some of the greatest names for 20, 30 years playing key positions. How do you compare those two offenses? And let's just be honest, was the greatest show on turf better than the Chiefs offense?
Oh yeah, we were better. That's for sure. I'm not sure the quarterback was better, but overall, we were better. I mean, we had more talent. You mentioned it, Hall of Famers all over the place. We did something in an era that had never been done before. We ushered in what is the NFL right now with showing people that you can throw the football to win, and you can consistently be good at throwing the football, which I think the mentality back in the day was, oh man, just bad things happen when you throw the football, incompletions and interceptions and turnovers, run the football and play good defense. And I think we showed people that you can do the opposite. If you have attention to detail, obviously, if you have good players, that, you can throw the ball to win, and it ushered in a fun brand of NFL football. And so, I think that's the first part of it, is that, a lot more people can do it now than could do it then. I think the second thing about it was our level of consistency was unique and rare. To have over 500 points 3 straight years, to do it through the passing game the way that we did, to set the records and establish that level of consistency, year in and year out, I think is what makes us different than really any offense. We've seen some offenses for a season that you say, oh, maybe that season was better than one of the greatest show on turf seasons. But those 3 years that we put together offensively, and the way that we stacked it and scored points and put up numbers, and the other thing to me is attack down the field. That's another thing about this era that's so different, is that there's yards to be had and completions and all that stuff, numbers to be had by throwing the ball within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. We didn't do that. Like, we threw the ball down the field. We pushed the envelope. It was about being accurate and making plays down the field every game. And I think that's another thing that separates who we were, from a lot of what the offenses are now, even though, again, you're going to have similar points and similar numbers, and now there's an extra game and all of that stuff. But if you look at the nature of how we played, I believe we were different. And I haven't really seen anybody that was as different as we were and as consistently great as we were. And so I still like to think that we're the best offense in NFL history. I'm sure lots of people will have their arguments, Peyton and Tom and maybe Patrick with different seasons that they've had. But I do believe that our team was different, and I haven't seen anybody that quite equals, what we were, in my opinion.
I fully agree with you. You guys need more respect, and you should have had a couple more Super Bowl trophies to go with that.